And later in this episode, I want to share with you one technique we use to really make the content creation for these live launches go really seamlessly and easy. We use it on a lot of our launches, and you're going to love that technique we share later. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Conscious Marketer podcast. My name's Richard, and so happy to have you here today. And I'm also joined by Kylie, Slavik, our main storyteller and brand consultant and Conscious Marketer. Hi, Kylie.
Hello.
And today we want to share a little bit about some of the innovation that's going on in the online digital and launch world. And there's a model that's actually been around for quite some time, but it's kind of picked up speed during the COVID era. Is that a thing now, Kylie? The COVID era, or I guess we're still on the tail end of it.
Yeah, I think we can call it that.
The COVID era. So what we saw was a lot more people doing faster launches, and I think, like even like 3 to 5 years ago, there were a lot more online launches where people would pre-record all of their content and then do a lot of fancy dancy editing and screen shifts and things like that. But what's happened is with all of the digital platforms favoring live video, what a lot of launch people that are launching programs have done is they've leaned into that, because the live video actually creates, they call it virility, and the algorithms kind of kick in. And so there's more visibility when you do live videos. So at some point, somebody, I don't know who got smart and figured this out. I know there was a woman named Susan Garrett up in Canada that I've been watching do this for a while. And but whoever created it, what people started to do is what they call a live launch. And we thought what we would do here is share a little bit about different ways to do a live launch. And we use this for both our clients and also some of the things that we do in our business. And the basic premise is that before you open up cart or during cart open, rather than, pre-produced webinars and, like these series that take a lot of commitment, what you do is a series of live events, which is, I think, more exciting. It's more real. It's also more room to mess up, but also just more room to be who you are and authentic, and people can kind of see that. So we thought we would just talk a little bit about live launches. Maybe Kylie, you could share what you've been seeing with, the live launch format and how people do it with either webinars or, on Facebook.
Absolutely. So I'm not a huge fan of recorded launches, although I know they certainly work. The person who kind of develops that is, I'm sure he's got hundreds and millions of dollars in client revenue and personal revenue. So it works. But I also think for a more sensitive transformational audience, they need to feel that resonance. So they need to feel your presence. Otherwise, they're just going to get bored and bounce, and also people today are really over inundated with information. So I always believe that what they're looking for is transformation, not information. So when it's pre-recorded, you're mostly just giving them a bunch of information by nature of that format. And when you're live, you can see who's there, you can interact with who's there, and you can give them that transformation. Last week, we did a webinar with Sounds True, and I was just looking at everybody, and the things I had planned on saying, I modified because I could see where people were at and what they needed to hear and how I could inspire them. And I wouldn't be able to do that if it was recorded. And so that's another reason that I really love doing the webinar series model that we usually follow, or you could do one webinar, whatever it is. It's really powerful to be able to do it that way.
Yeah, I really like that. And there's also another aspect where, because it's live and because it's, you can have the recording out, but there's something when you have a live audience. I think for myself, I perform better. It's like, oh, it's live. And like you said, you can kind of see the people and then react off them. But I also think it's much better for the people participating, because they can see, like on that webinar we had last week, we had over 5,000 people register, but we also had 600 plus people on the call. And so everybody could see everybody else was hungry for it and that they weren't the only ones trying to learn this stuff, you know? So it creates like this group field of people who are interested. And we didn't do it on that call, but often the thing that can help you get engagement is like during these calls, you can say, hey, tell me where you're dialing in from, and people can type in their name, or tell me one thing that you'd like to launch in the next year, and people will type in the launch. And so you can create real engagement. And the nice thing is, often we'll stream it through Zoom, but then you can also take that stream of the live cast and you can shoot it into Facebook, or you can even split the feed with a little more tech. This is a little more fancy dancy, but you can simultaneously stream onto a Zoom call and then split that feed and go into YouTube and Facebook. And so you can be literally on 3 different platforms at once, and wherever somebody is watching, they can start to engage there. And so this is a very different experience than some kind of like pre-packaged, thing that's fancy dancy. And I think that I think the pre-packaged stuff, there is a place for it, but it also feels a little more markety, to be honest. It feels a little less authentic than if you're just getting out there and teaching and sharing your gifts and trying to add some value up front.
Yeah, I also think the pre-recorded video style of a launch is going to work better for people who have millions of people in their audience. And I think as somebody like Brendan Burchard, I think his audience would probably buy anything that he sold. And so they're going to go and they're going to probably not even watch the videos, or watch part of a video, or watch all the videos if they're in that category of people that are going to do that. But they're already looking to buy from him because he's spending so much money on content marketing, because he's a great storyteller. I had the opportunity to watch him speak from stage, and I was actually quite impressed with his storytelling skills. And so he is going to go ahead and sell anything. I always tell people, if you're running a Facebook ad, you never, ever, ever want to go straight to a sale. You want to always go to a free opt-in of some type. And I remember when I saw Tony Robbins going straight to a sale, and I thought to myself, Tony Robbins can do that, but like, I can't do that. And so I think that there's this 1, 2, 3% of people who can just do whatever they want. And because their platform is global, they will sell. But until we have that, if that's what you're looking to create, then when you get there, you'll be able to do whatever you want. But I know for me, I'll probably never be in that category. And so I have to play by the rules that make the most sense for where I'm at in my business.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I think the nice thing about the live launch too is it levels the playing field, because you don't have to have a fancy 3 cameras setup and camera switchers and all this stuff. You can just do it with a Zoom call, or a link into your Facebook Live. Just for framework, when we talk about a live launch, I just want to share kind of an overview of a few of the different styles that this kind of what it can look like, basically. So one style is just simply, you could see like a live training or a webinar or a series of 2 or 3 of these. And in the classic launch style, you wouldn't open up cart until the whole series was done. But what we found for our own market, and everybody is a little bit different, but we found that we normally open up cart right off the first video or the first series. So we might do like a live call, and then we'll open up our cart on the first live, because we find that if people have seen one of the videos, they don't need to see all 3. In fact, they normally won't ever see all 3. Normally, they're just going to watch one. I want to be there with the offer. So it gives us kind of 3 opportunities, and we'll do one live call or webinar, and then we'll do a second and a third. And then these can be, I think they're different options. They can be a week after each other, so they can be 3 weeks apart. The other thing we do sometimes is we'll do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. So we'll put them all within a week. And then you can even crunch them together, and you could have 3 live calls back to back on 3 different days and call it like a workshop series or something like that. And then you offer right off the back of that. And then if 3 is too many, you can just do one and open your offer off that, and then follow up with a series of emails. So there's a lot of different options. Typically we run it through Zoom. And if you have a really active Facebook group, you can run your launch straight through your Facebook group. And so like we have a Facebook group called the Conscious Marketer's Path. We have around 5,000 people in there. So we could actually run a launch video or a live video straight into that group to open up cart to a program. Our anchor program that we offer to help people launch is called the Accelerator. So we do promote that inside there with short videos sometimes and different offers. But we could do a whole series just to lead people into that or into our larger program called The Source. So there's a lot of different options on live. I think that in the olden days, it would be like, you need to do this one way and it's the only way that works. And if you don't do that, you're going to get struck by lightning. But what we've seen is there's all different kinds of models that work, and you kind of have to understand how fast your client wants to create content, how you work, and then where they are. And depending on that it gives you a lot of different options, depending on where your audience is, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, or if you have a big email list, then you could just do it on Zoom. You don't even need those platforms.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I like what you said that relates to creating in the form that fits you the most. And I think that, we're actually preparing for a webinar tomorrow or actually Wednesday. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, because people ask all the time, what platform should I be on in order to do all this stuff, in order to get attention, to drive traffic, to make sales? And I really believe that truth and a good message and a good offer are not platform dependent. And in the same way, your launch is not style or rule dependent. It's like, how do your people consume content, and give that to them? I know a woman one of my first clients ever in this industry, her clients liked audio. And so she was able to just do audio instead of video because they liked it better. And so finding out what the people that you're here to influence really like, give them that. And we've found that the 3-part webinar series really, really works. And that's why we just keep repeating it. But if you find something that works for your audience to where they feel connected to you, they buy, they spread the word for you about what you're doing, that's really the ultimate thing that we want, then do that. That's the thing to do. And I tell people all the time, don't ask me, ask your clients. Don't ask me, ask your would-be clients, because I can tell you everything I know from 10 plus years of doing this. But at the end of the day, I'm making a very educated guess, and the people who matter more than even me are those people that are giving you money. So that's what you want to really do, is like, how do they want to be served?
That's such a good point, and it's something I think we all forget. We listen to the gurus, or we look at the platforms we like or others, but if you can just ask your clients where they are and what they want and what they prefer, then you can kind of get the right answer. Now, I want to give you one special tip or one idea that you can use in your live launches that can make things a lot easier. Here's the idea, which on the surface sounds like a really simple idea, but I just wanted to share how it works. And the idea is this: if you're having, if you have any like anxiety about doing webinars, especially if they're live with people, like, I've had to host webinars with like almost 10,000 people. That's where I get a little bit anxious, and I really kind of over prepare and shake before the webinar, and so I'm a lot more easygoing now, but I can tell you that this has really helped me a lot. And it's kind of 2 parts. One is to kind of prepare a document with all the different, like the flow, and maybe have that in front of you, which kind of it seems obvious, but this next thing is even more important. If you're doing a webinar and you're the teacher, sometimes it's hard to guide the flow through. And so what you can do is ask somebody to host it for you. And so I play this role for some of the teachers I work with, where I'll be the host, and then I'll just ask them questions. And then so what you do is you find somebody to host the webinar that can just ask you questions to guide you through. And then it just becomes a conversation between you and the host. And so it's not you trying to sell something or you trying to like create value by dropping these nuggets. It's literally just somebody asking you a question and you answering in conversation, and it makes it so much easier. And then I'll give you an add-on value tip that there's actually 2 different kinds of hosts. and neither is right or wrong, and they both actually work. And the first type of host is what I call the inquiring student host. And the inquiring student host is somebody that's in your field, or maybe even is a peer, or somebody that is kind of probably likely studied with you. It can also be somebody that's just in your company that loves the material, and they take the role as hosts of the inquiring student that wants to know more. And they should really be mirroring the questions that your audience has. And so this is great because it positions you as the authority and as a teacher, and then the flow is the same. So that's the one kind of host. I just call it the inquiring host. You'll see entire podcasts that are run on this inquiring host kind of mode, where there's just the inquiring student interviewing the guru or whoever the person is that's the expert. So that's one type. The second type is the authority host. If you can find somebody that's an authority that can give you credibility, it's really a powerful thing, especially if they have an audience they're willing to share. And so for us, we work with Sounds True. So Tammy Simon has interviewed us, and so she's the host for us. And so she asks us the questions. And so if you have somebody in your field that's an authority, that people see as an authority, somebody like who would be the best authority in the world? Somebody like Oprah would be considered like I don't know, the head of all authorities would be Oprah, say, right? But maybe not for your field. Maybe it's somebody else. So if you have somebody like that can come on, and then you say, hey, would you mind asking me these questions, or here are the questions? Or maybe you can ask your own questions that you would want to know. Then what happens is you develop immediate credibility with your audience, because you have an authority asking you questions, and then it's conversation between you and this person. And it's kind of what they call referred authority. And then at the end, that person can turn it back to you and say, hey, tell people how they can go deeper and work with you. And then you just explain it, or say, it's all on this page, just click the button and learn more. And it doesn't have to be awkward or weird. It can be really easy. And so that's the special technique I wanted to share with you during this webinar on how to do live launches so that they're super easy. And then how you put them into the whatever platform or whatever, like Kylie said, is kind of up to you.
Absolutely. And I think that I would like to share a little bit about how people can get more support with their launches from us. I know people ask all the time. We just got an email yesterday. Can you launch for us? Can you launch for us? And we have cut back quite a bit on that, but we do have some really great training materials that people are achieving their launch goals with. And one of those is the Conscious Launch Accelerator. And that's A to Z full scale. This is how we launch. This is where you start. This is the next step, the next step, the next step. And it takes you through 8 steps essentially. Plus there's bonuses that'll enhance it, like how to create a video script, or how to tell your origin story, or things that, how to build your list, things of that nature. And so we've just put, I think we've put about 150, 170 people through that program. And we've just gotten some really powerful results, or I should say people have taken the material and gone out and gotten some powerful results. And so I want to personally invite you to consider joining us in that. It's consciousmarketer.com/accelerator. And you can see everything that's available to you on that page. And we have a person on our team who will answer your questions if you go to that page. And it's not a bot. It'll say like, hey, we're here to help you, chat with us now. And it's actually Malia from our team. She really cares about people. She wants to help you make the right decision, and not just the pushy decision, but the right decision for you. So if you want to talk to someone on our team about it, she is there for you. And Richard, do you have anything to say about this program and what you've seen for the students that have gone through it?
Just that people reach out a lot to us and want our assistance, and we're literally, it's like me or Kylie we rotate weeks and are on calls every week. So you're getting, we've done probably over $100 million in sales, and over 300 launches. So you're literally getting some of the, it's the closest you can get to us. In fact, you're working with us, and the group's relatively small. We do it because we really love to transform people who are growing their business and doing good things in the world. And our end goal is actually to help you get your work out there and to make a bigger impact, because we know that a lot of your work can save lives, whether it's in health or relationships or spirituality or whatever you teach. And so we just do this as an act of service. So we'd love to have you as part of that Conscious Launch Accelerator. So thanks everybody for joining us on this episode about live launches. And again, you can go to consciousmarketer.com/accelerator to learn about that. And if you want to get the show notes for this podcast, you can also go to consciousmarketer.com/podcast. Thanks again for joining us here, wherever you're listening. And we will look forward to having you on the next episode. Bye for now.